Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Samboner Show. This is your weekend shakedown. Alongside me is Mr. Mike Gill, ESPN Radio South Jersey's finest, as well as the one, the only Mr. Colin Thompson. How we doing this morning, boys?
Yeah, let's go.
Colin, we've been talking about this. The best time of the year, right? Mike, Colin and I have a kind of an argument, ongoing argument. When is the best time of the year? But, riddle me this, right? Your Philadelphia Phillies are holding a magic number 1. Your Philadelphia Eagles are one of 3 undefeated teams. Shout out Dolphins and the 49ers. And your number 6 in the country, Penn State Nittany Lions, are also undefeated and put an absolute ass whooping on the Iowa Buckeyes over the weekend. Does it get any better? Is it a better time to be a Samboner right now? Let's go.
It does. There is better times. I'll say this. It's March Madness. It's the Masters.
Well, the better time is when you're in the moment. That's the better time.
Look at Mike.
Moment, feel that's the best time because you're in the moment. Like, I love March Madness. It's one of my favorite. I go on vacation every year so that I don't have to work during March Madness, so I can watch from noon to midnight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But it's the best time because you're in that moment. Because right now, you're right, Mick. It's like the Phillies are going to be in the playoffs next week. The Eagles are playing college football. The NBA is getting ready to start. Hockey's coming back.
Absolutely.
5 different things rocking and rolling. So it's the best time until you're in the moment of the other best time.
Yeah, but Colin, to Mike's defense, Colin, these are our teams. These are where this is who we grew up watching.
I know, but take it on the flip side. Just take it on the flip side. So when you have March Madness, the Masters, and the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs happening, like, that's your teams going into the playoffs. It's just the flip side of this, and there's more going on because now
but
no football, but the Eagles
no
season.
Ryder Cup. Come on now. Ryder Cup weekend. You kidding me?
The draft. Woohoo! Let's go.
I'm a big springtime guy. I think every radio show in the spring is like, holy shit, we got a lot to talk about. Right now is all football. I'm for it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm usually working in the fall. This is my first fall off in a long time. So I'm very biased to the springtime.
I think it's one of those 2 times. It's either that springtime or like right now. I don't know that there's another rival to those 2 because when you're like, this is the best time of the year, it's usually in the spring when you're talking about March Madness and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're right now, you're saying, oh, football, baseball playoffs, hockey's getting ready, all that. So those are the 2, I think. I don't think there's a third.
We're lucky too here. If the Phillies are in the playoffs, and it's like just an okay time of year. It's just like,
well, right. And the Flyers are starting, and I don't know there's a lot of juice there. So you got the Eagles, and this is not a big college football area. I know you called them the Iowa Buckeyes. It would be the Hawkeyes of Iowa.
Mick did
say Buckeyes? Oh, there we go.
Mick brought up Penn State. I'm like, wait, there's people that cheer for college athletics in the Philadelphia area?
When they're good, that people start to grab on. You get those hey, I'm a big college football guy.
I am not a diehard fan. I will say I did graduate there in 2004.
That's fair. That's legit.
Love going to the game, the experience going to a college football game. Colin, we've talked about it a million times. But Mike, you're a big college football guy. Like, talk to us. What's your take on Penn State? What's your take on this quarterback? Like, is he ready for the spotlight? Is he going to go into the NFL next year?
He might. I mean, he played in a handful, like 3-4 games last year. He looked poised. I saw them against, I'm a West Virginia grad. I left very impressed in that game, and I watched him the last 2 weeks. I mean, to me, Penn State has had all these quarterbacks. Some of them have even made the league, but they're smaller guys that are a little bit more athletic. He's an athlete, but he's a big athlete.
Yeah.
He's more your prototypical pocket guy who can kind of just move. I mean, get out of the pocket. He's not a runner per se, but he's a guy that just has that feel. I like him, and I'm not a Penn State guy at all, but I have been impressed with what I've seen from them the last 3 weeks. I mean, West Virginia, they struggled in the first half. They kind of took off in the second half. The last 2 weeks, their defense, though, that's where the big thing is going to be. And down the line, come playoff time, do they have enough athletes to keep up with when you end up playing an SEC team in a playoff game, or even these Pac-12 teams that are pretty good? That Oregon team is big. They're fast. And it's going to be interesting because they just blew the doors off Colorado. To see what USC does to Colorado, because USC is now going to say, well, Oregon did this. Watch what we do to this Colorado, because everybody's going after them, right? So this is the game that everybody wants to kind of put their staple on and their thumbprint on is, you beat them 42-7, watch what we do. So those teams are fast and physical. So Penn State, it'll be interesting to see how they match up with some of those teams.
And I think it's going to really pan out here in the future. They play UMass next week. They'll blow them out. They're at home. But then they go on the road to Ohio State. Like, the thing about the Big Ten and the SEC and all these teams is you could debate all you want, but what lies ahead will just make it will pan out for you, and it's going to show what the teams that are going to go to Ohio State at night, probably going to be rocking loud. Indiana at home, that's always a tricky one. You never know there. Maryland on the road, that's a win. And then you have to, you got Michigan home to pretty much finish the year, then Rutgers, Michigan State. So
yeah,
you're going to know what's going to happen. It's going to
I mean, the fact that they're number 6 in the country and there's 2 teams also in the Big Ten that lie ahead of them. But Colin, back to the Drew Lar conversation. Like, what are you looking for? If you're drafting an NFL quarterback, are you going for the pocket passer? Or are you going for the guy that's the most elite, like a Jalen Hurts or a Patrick Mahomes? Because my humble opinion, the pocket passer has a better percentage-wise to go out there and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a loaded question. Take, for example, Anthony Richardson last year at University of Florida. I went to Florida. I watched the team. I watched him play. I didn't think he was very good. I didn't think he did a lot of really good things. I didn't think he was a top 5 quarterback. Now, I think he's an absolute freak of nature, extremely gifted. And they're saying, hey, listen, in the long game, maybe that's a guy that turns into a Patrick Mahomes down the line, where he's doing such things athletically that it's just different. On the flip side, you get a guy like a Joe Burrow, who doesn't really move. Now, he really can't move well because of his cap, but doesn't really move that great, but he delivers the ball at an unbelievable clip. So, yeah, Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert can move too. At the end of the day, you need to, when you're watching a quarterback, when they hum the football down the field, it needs to look different and explode off their hand a little differently. I think that's a basic tangible. They're like, that guy's different. When you see that, then that guy's a first-round pick. That's what they go for. So, great question. Jalen Hurts is not a running quarterback. He can run and beat you, but he knows, and you saw it last night, when he needs to make those big-time throws, and he did, he made them. Can Anthony Richardson make them? I don't know. Can a lot of mobile quarterbacks make them? I don't know. It just depends on their arm talent. So to me, it's always arm talent over legs. If they move, it's a bonus. But if they can't move, they got to be able to throw it anyways.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I love your Hurts take there. I think he even is looking to develop into more of a pocket passer because, as you continue to get older, those legs get weaker. You see it, Lamar Jackson. Like, you want to become a pocket passer in this league. Jalen Hurts, last night, and we can dive into that, but I think he was a little sick last night. Obviously, threw 2 picks. I think he was battling flu-like symptoms, so I don't want to read too far into it. We can break down the birds here in a short second. Before we do, let's give a shout out to some of our lawyer sponsorships here at the Samboner Show as we shake down the weekend of sports and all good things. Being a Samboner, shout out to the original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge all over the country. FudgeKitchen.com. I've been getting my, Colin, as a matter of fact, I got to stop eating this stuff. Like, I appreciate them supporting the show, but I've hit my limit of fudge.
Well, that's the best part about the Fudge Kitchen deal, dude, is you go and you just get the saltwater taffy situation.
All right.
Yeah.
That's the original Fudge Kitchen diet. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, for me, fudge is like the treat, right? I send it as a gift to somebody, as a birthday, as a down the shore, and you want a treat after dinner, and then I like the little saltwater taffy in the car when maybe you're hungry or you don't have a mint. Bang, that's what I go for.
All right. Another quick shout out to our friends at the Wharf in Wildwood, New Jersey. Mike, you're all too familiar with the Wharf. An unbelievable job there. They continue to stay open in the fall. Great place to continue to watch the games on Saturday, Sunday. Go root your fills on. Great menu filled with great food. The hot honey pizza, the cheesesteaks, the sushi. Damien and the crew there absolutely crushing it. Can't thank you enough for all the love and support there. Appreciate everybody, Samboned Nation, supporting the Wharf here in the fall as we start to wind down. I guess summer is officially over now, right? September 23rd, was it?
Yeah.
I think so. That's it. That's a wrap.
That's it.
That's a wrap.
Everyone get out of the Jersey Shore.
That's a wrap, he says. Mike, what's up with that top 23 hoagie list action that you guys posted on your website? No Russos in Wildwood and no Giovanni's in Sea Isle. Are you kidding me?
First of all, I didn't write that, but I think the writer took the reviews off of multiple like Yelp and Google and that kind of thing. But I will also give a shout out. I've never had a Russo's before, but shout out Billy Osborne, Wildwood legend. I called a game with him the other night. He did the color with me in the Mainland Hamilton game, and he brought me a Russo sub for halftime. I said, whoa, huge win for him. I never had one before, and that was a banging sandwich. I got to be honest, man. It was delectable. But I think those reviews, and this is where it gets a little wonky, because you look at like the Yelp reviews or like TripAdvisor, basically they just get, take it off of users' reviews. So that's who the users were saying were the top 23.
Need the Samboner app, Mick.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You know why? You know why we need that? Because I did go down the Sea Isle, and still to this day, I mean, I'm an AC Expressway guy. I'm constantly up and down the AC Expressway. And to this day, after Samboned, for as long as we've been Samboned, I still text my buddies, or I'll throw up a story. Where should I go? Where's the best hoagie from South Jersey to Philly? And, I get a lot of answers, but they're, sometimes they stretch you a little too far west, east. And it's just like, no, I want to stay right on the AC Expressway.
Yep. I think the app's it, like the One Bite app. We do it with the pizza all the time. Like, we're curious to see what the One Bite app and, the Portnoy and Barstool come up with. You're like, oh, wow, this has a, 8.9.
I mean, yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
You would use it. I mean, driving, you would pull up the app, boom, at a stoplight and be like, all right, perfect. There's one 5 minutes off my route. I'm going there. And then the cool thing, I don't have to sell it. You know it, and the Samboner fans know it. That's the big one. That's
it's apparently, it is Hoagie Month, but apparently it's wedding season too. We had quite the weekend here. Some Samboners getting pretty nasty. It looks like there was a Steve's Prince of Steaks truck that posted up at somebody's wedding. Great little debut there by Mr. Mike Miller. And then this guy, DC from Delco last night. So I had some questions come in. Colin, I think you posed the question too in the comments. What do you think the over-under was on the amount of drinks that this Samboner had last night as he was posted up at Gino's Steaks, probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, Mike? The rest is history. I mean, at this point, does it really matter what you're eating?
Well, it does.
3 a.m. Do you remember what you're eating?
Great question, Mike. You can hear my Vegas voice right now. I just had a wedding here for the thing with these weddings now too, Mick and Mike, which was amazing. It was an amazing time. It's Thursday welcome party. You have a Herschel dinner because we were part of it. My wife was. Then you go to a welcome party after that. You're around your friends. It's Thursday night. You're off Friday. That's a shit show. And then Friday rolls around, 2 o'clock. You're getting after it because the wedding's at 5, a couple drinks. And then Saturday, there's a whole party after, and we're out and we shut the bars down in Annapolis. So hurting. Now I can bounce back with the best of them, but hurting. And that's how these go. Now, to answer your question, it does matter when you're eating at 3 a.m, Mick, and I'll take the over on the 15 beers. I will comment that all the time now because it pays dividends in the morning. If you're going burger, if you're going cheesesteak, if you're going pizza, like that pays dividends for your hangover in the morning. So it really does matter what you eat.
Yeah, I'm like 46, so I'm a little older than you there, Colin Thompson. But I went on a stretch in my mid 30s where I had 5 weddings in a 6-weekend span. Mm-hmm. It was outrageous. And you're right. I mean, these things just they're all weekend. It's the whole ordeal. Holy moly. But I can't imagine at this age having somebody get married again. What an idiot.
We on Saturday.
I'm kidding.
We know.
I mean, Saturday, we wake up at the wedding venue area. We live in Annapolis, right where the wedding kind of venue is. We wake up. We stayed at the venue, though. Then we come back to the house, get a little breakfast, shower up, gear up for the next day. We're watching college football in the morning. And then the festivities started at 11:30.
What is your take, guys, on a football season Sunday wedding?
No, I mean, they're nutty. And that's nutty.
Yeah, it's funny. I just came across the wedding that took place on a Sunday. I'd have to say, if you were planning ahead, and obviously this bride and groom were planning ahead, they did take a look at the Eagles' schedule prior to planning that wedding. So they're off the hook, right? So if you planned a Sunday wedding and the birds aren't on, that said, if it's a Philadelphia wedding, granted, we all live in different cities, I'd say you're off the hook. And I do believe that it's much cheaper to have a wedding. I got married on a Friday. It was a lot cheaper then too. But if the birds were a 425 game and you planned a Sunday wedding, I'd likely say that was a 175 person wedding. We're quickly down to 110.
I saw the boardwalk in Ocean City. I think it was last season. I'm walking on the boardwalk. And it was early. The Eagles played like maybe 425, but there was a wedding on the beach in Ocean City. And my first thought was, this poor sap's missing the Eagles game.
Yep.
Well, if you time it up right and you're with your friends and the wedding, say you get married at like 11 a.m. on a Sunday, the game's at 4:30, and you have a huge party and it's a great time and the wedding ends at 3:30, 4 o'clock, you're with all your folks. You're with all your people. That's why
I take that back. It might have been a 1 o'clock game, and I might have been doing like, hey, let's we'll take the walk on the boardwalk at like 10, and then get home by 1 kickoff.
Yeah, I mean that's how it goes this weekend, right? Like I'm a firm believer in these Friday weddings. Now they're tough on people that work on Fridays, but man, we did it Thursday night. You have a little welcome party for anybody in town, and then you get up Friday and you're with everybody again, and then Saturday. From the wedding venue, because they had another party there on Saturday, a barbecue and pickleball and cornhole and bowling. Is a pretty cool little area here.
I've never seen a game of pickleball in my life.
Well, it's the number one sport in the world right now.
I've heard. I've heard it. I've never seen it played. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what the is.
Fantastic. It's miniature.
I think the rules are a little much, to be honest with you. Like, there's no reason why you can't play pickleball just like you're playing ping pong. Honestly,
I think it's or volleyball. Yeah.
I mean,
they're a little. They're. I don't like him either, Mick. For a guy like you and I that are rammy and ready to compete, I got to move over. I got to say the score. I got to all this like different. That I don't like that. Now,
you know what though? It's funny you bring that up though. It's like no better time to go pumpkin spice yourself right now and join a little pickleball league.
What do you got to do?
I'm out on that. That's why this isn't your favorite time of the year. You're not a pumpkin guy.
Well, they start the pumpkin spice. It's August 15th. I'm trying to have an orange crush at the Schooner Wharf, and we're
hold on. No, we're off the rails, Mike. We're always off the rails here, right? This thing can go anywhere. But let's do a quick buy or sell. Buy or sell on the pumpkin spice craze. Gill, you're up first.
I am out on the. I've never even tried it. Don't care one bit.
You haven't had a pumpkin IPA? No.
No, I'm not a dark beer guy at all, man. I am a hazy New England style. I am out on Oktoberfest. I am out on pumpkin, and I am out on Taylor Swift dating Travis Kelce.
I'll make this crystal clear.
I couldn't be more out on those 3 things.
I am completely out on the pumpkin spice thing. Just for the fact that we started way too soon. I mean, we're marketing it in August.
All right, now if you start it later, do you enjoy it?
No, I don't indulge
that's
on
the
it.
problem. I'm with you guys. Look, I've acquired the taste. I'm okay with the pumpkin cream for the coffee.
The week of Halloween, but not.
I know that's the problem. Come September, they're just throwing it in front of us. It's like,
what the hell?
Halloween decorations are up already. There's 50 days till Halloween. What is going on out there?
Cash money, baby, cash money. Because I hand my card, my wife and I go, and boom. Now my wife and I don't indulge in that, but you go as a couple and look at this. We need a new this and that. And Sam's Club, they had Halloween stuff up in August. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm out on the pumpkin stuff. Now,
we're not talking Taylor Swift, Mike. Do not bring that up.
Hold on, Mike.
I said the pumpkin beer, like I'm not a dark.
Mike, hold on a second. I had the milk stout nitro by Left Hand.
Yeah, I know what it is.
So they did a nitro. It's a pumpkin. It's almost like a Boddington's. Do you like Boddington's?
No.
You don't like Boddington's?
No, but I will say real quick, shout out Cape May Brewing Company. Just got the bronze medal for their Oktoberfest beer. It just got announced at the Great American Beer Festival in Denver this weekend. So their Oktoberfest, I might have to give a little.
In Denver?
So that's a national award.
They won the bronze. Gusto actually just won a gold medal for.
It's a big deal.
I forget the name of their beer because and the Oktoberfest is Cape May. And there was one other one, Kane, up in Ocean County, one for the hazy New England. So I
had the Cape May Oktoberfest in my hand, and I went a different direction. I should have grabbed
it.
it.
Just won the bronze medal. It was this weekend. It was the 23rd and 24th in Denver. Let me get the name of the Gusto Good Talk won the gold won the bronze in I forget some category. I don't remember the category, but
good for them.
Yeah, cool
so
stuff.
You guys are both selling on it. I'm gonna sell too, but I will say there's a couple out there that I'm okay with.
I will do, and I don't know that I can do it again because I had it in Dublin at the official Guinness factory. I will drink a Guinness, but like one. And I can't drink a Guinness at some rando bar that's getting me Bobo Guinness.
Wow.
Seaview does not. Seaview does not. They're like official Guinness.
We are learning a lot from Mr. Mike Gill here this morning.
The right way. Otherwise, it's like a Coors Light with dye.
Whoa. Yeah, you're right. If people just like pour it and don't let it sit in the whole nine, I get it.
Gill's an IPA guy through and through.
The Cape May Brew, they have like a mop water that's good. They have like, and I'll drink that. But I'm out on the pumpkin spice too, Mick. Yeah.
Well, Mick, I told you, I did the Cape May Brew tour. I started up at Ludlam and went all the way down and hit like 7 breweries that day. I didn't make it to Gusto because they closed. It was too late by the time we got from Ludlam all the way down to Cape May. Gusto was the last one. I want to get there. We didn't go over to the island. I have been to Mudhead before, but I didn't hit it that day. But we hit like 6 breweries that day and tried something at all of them.
Yeah, no, we talked about your strategy and kind of like the wedding weekend strategy. You have to have one. And to your point, to wrap up that conversation, I think Friday wedding is the way to go. You have your entire weekend to just kind of go on, be your merry self. But look, another great weekend filled with a ton of upsets. I rolled out my 3 picks. I don't gamble a lot, fellas, but when I do, I love to lose, right? There's no better feeling than just losing. But this weekend, my picks, I rolled them out. I went Niners, I went Birds, but I also went Bears. So I went 2-1. I had a hunch on the Bears. So that just goes to show you how mush I really am.
No, media got you.
Plus 12.5. And what did they lose? 45-0. Like God, honestly, came in there and swept them right off the field.
The media get you.
The media get you. But hey, I'll take the 2-1 card. Unfortunately, my FanDuel Sportsbook doesn't read that because I got trapped into playing all these football player parlay, touchdown parlays. It's a trap, man. Throw in $5. We'll give you 200. Next thing you know, you lose 1,000.
My best bet of the weekend, by the way, was live in-game bet. The result of the Colorado drive will be punt. Bang. Every time. 7 straight punts they had to start the game. I hit that bet 7 straight times that they will punt. And I was getting plus money. It was like plus 110 that they would punt on the drive.
Again, that's the media driving that, right? Like,
oh yeah,
that's hard.
They had a tab on DraftKings. They had a specific tab at the top. It's MLB, NFL, college football, and Colorado. They had just a tab for all Colorado bets.
Yeah, media drives it all.
So last weekend we talked about like most rushes in a game. This weekend, I'm going to ask you guys, what's the most points scored in an NFL game? Because I think Miami threw up, 70 over the weekend?
72. Yeah, they took a knee. They took the knee at the end, right? Or if they would have kicked the field goal, they would have had.
Was there a record? Is that a record?
72 is the record, yes.
72.
And they needed out instead of going for the record.
Field goal, and McDaniels talked about why. I didn't hear it, but apparently he was asked why, because he could have kicked a field goal to break the record, and I guess he chose not to.
Colin, help us understand how that happens. How do you let up 70 points?
You face somebody in that type of offensive system. I went through it on my show yesterday. There's different trees and systems. The Eagles are like kind of a Kansas City, they're kind of the Colts with Frank Wright, Kansas City, Doug Peterson, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy. They all run that similar offense. They're going to be spread it out. They're going to take one-on-one matchups. When you face the Niners, when you face the Dolphins, when you face Cincinnati, Vikings, Rams under that Kyle Shanahan senior tree, Gary Kubiak back in the day, man, oh man, the way they run the football, the play action, everyone's wide open. What gets you is if you can't run the football, and Denver just struggled to stop the run. So all of a sudden, the doors blow off. And when you have that mixed with the superior talent that the Dolphins have of the fastest team in the NFL, then you're going to have a 70 burger in Miami. Hot team on the road from Denver, brutal. I played there. Playing there in September is a nightmare. We played there in December, and we had guys cramping.
Last night looked god awful hot. I believe it was 90 degrees on the field.
Tampa gets stinky. I played in that stadium, probably the most stadium I played in my career, other than the Link, because it was
the rain probably helped, honestly.
It gets steamy down there. Yeah, the Birds. I mean, Mike. I'm going to be on Mike's show later today, but this narrative of these sloppy losses, it's disrespectful, because how many sloppy losses do teams have every year? About 80% of them. They're sloppy. What's sloppy? Close game. Like, if that's Kansas City, do you call that a sloppy loss? No. But you say, Tampa. Wow, they're Tampa. I don't know. Baker Mayfield looked pretty damn good. Their receivers look pretty damn good. It just got away from them, right? And I think the Eagles' field position with the punt returns allowed that to happen. Eagles are starting in the middle of the field.
Don't you think the story in this game, though, is Tampa's run defense, 54 yards a game? Everyone said, can the Eagles run? And the Eagles said, not only are we going to run it down your throats. I mean, they hit holes that were the size of the Atlantic Ocean. So they basically said, we heard enough about Tampa's run defense and took their will. I think they just demoralized that team.
Yep. And they do it. And we'll get it into your show, Mike, and I'll get into it here. If you watch the way they designed the run game, they ran the ball well. Now, they had some double tight end sets, but they're spreading people out like it was going to be their normal pass. Like Jalen's going to fake a little play action and rip a ball across the middle. There was one play, 6 minutes left in the first quarter, about 6:30 in the first quarter, where it looks like it's a run. They're going to be a pass, Jalen takes one step for a pass, which forces everyone to drop. And then Jason Kelsey pulls around on the screen and Swift hits it for 30 or 15, He gets them down to the 30-yard line following the big punt return. And all of a sudden you're in their territory. So that's why I'm like, is it a sloppy win? Like, the special teams played amazing. All of them stepped up. And the reason why the Bucs do so well stopping the run is they play in these 5-man fronts. Well, against the Eagles, because their receivers are so well, you have to play with multiple safeties on the field. You can't play with 5 men down on the line of scrimmage. So,
yeah.
But yeah, like we always say, it's too early to read too far into it.
No, it's not too early.
Yes, it is. The first one in the NFL is preseason, Colin.
The Eagles are dominant. The Eagles are dominant.
100%. That offensive line and that defensive line, just wait for Jalen Carter to really just catch his prime. Like, that guy is going to be a force to be reckoned with. That defensive line is incredible. And then let's talk a little bit about the Jalen Hurts quarterback sneak. Has that pretty much become unstoppable? Right? That is an unstoppable play. He gets that yard or two every single time. We get to the one, it's an automatic touchdown. It's an automatic touchdown.
We'll see what the offseason brings with that. I think that's going to disappear.
How's it going to disappear?
They vote on it. They couldn't even get it to the table because no one was interested. Now,
yeah, I agree.
It's the only team that does it, though. Nobody, even Aikman last night during the broadcast, says, "Why not get Mayfield and Tush?" They don't
have the voice to do it. Listen. I'm for it, guys. That's my world. That's how I've made a living. So I'm for it. I just think that there's become some smoke around it, which I disagree with wholeheartedly. And I just think it's going to come to the table again. I don't have no idea why.
Yeah.
But it's just my gut. I just there's a lot of talk.
I will say I didn't like the play where they faked it. I thought that didn't need to happen. You either set up in a different formation or you're all in on that play, right? It's too early to say, all right, now we're going to fake it. Now teams are thinking that was dumb, right? Now we know that they can do that.
You're right, Mick, though. It's unstoppable, man.
It's really incredible. Real quick, another shout out to our good friends at Verona Pizza here in Maple Glen. Fellas, I'm right up the street from a new gem here in the pizza cheesesteak world. These guys are bringing in the Sarcone rolls, tons of experience. I think they have 11 different restaurants across the tri-state. This Verona Pizza it's like heaven 5 minutes up the road. Unfortunately, there's some other good pizza places here, but these guys decided to up the game when it came to cheesesteaks and pizza and whatever else they're slinging in there. Maple Glen, PA, Verona Pizza. If you haven't been there, give it a good try. Appreciate all the support there, Verona Pizza. Nothing better on your beautiful Sunday fun day feeding frenzy. So back to the show.
What do you got, Gil? You're about to jump in there.
Yeah, you mentioned the Eagles' defensive line and Carter as he gets better. Think about this. The Lions, I saw this on Twitter today, X, whatever you want to call it. The Lions passed on Jalen Carter. They traded down. They drafted Jamar Gibbs. Because they drafted Gibbs, Swift became available, so they traded him to the Eagles. So the Lions indirectly gave the Eagles Jalen Carter and DeAndre Swift.
Chestnut checkers, right? Yeah, I mean, DeAndre's always been an elite running back. I saw him in high school. I didn't play against him. I'm an old man, but I saw him play in high school because all my buddies went to prep, and we went to Skylar Morningweg, Marty's son. We went to Florida together, so we watched the prep games, and DeAndre was scooting around. He did it at Georgia. He was drafted in this late, I think, very first or second pick in the second round, I believe it was. I forget, but he's a first-round type talent, and you could see it. That's why the Eagles traded for him, right? And it's a rent-a-back league. You're going to rent a running back, and they just rented him, and he won't re-sign with the Eagles. There's no right. They're just going to move on and find the next guy. I don't think it's right, but that's the model, and it works for him because I'll always be players first and getting paid. But DeAndre, just like Miles Sanders, will go get paid by somebody else. He looked great. And I think the combination of the way the Eagles can spread people out on offense, that's what makes it go, period. Because you have to cover their four wideouts. You have to cover Dallas. You have to cover Jalen. You can't just let them run around.
What about the ripper that Hurts threw to Zacchaeus last night? I mean, he threw him open, and that's a guy, Zacchaeus, who really that's his second. I think he had a catch earlier in that game. That's only his second catch of the season. So it's all show.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up, Mike, because that just goes to show you how he's developing into a pocket passer. Like to just hang in there and take that blow and make that throw. Whew, just like that, man. We're on the board. And I'll tell you what, that was an incredible throw.
He was the fourth read coming in with a deep in cut, probably about 25 yards. He never gets that ball, ever. And he had about 10 seconds back there. And he lofted that thing up. That ball is never supposed to go. That ball is supposed to be thrown on the opposite hash on a rope.
Nobody saw that going, man.
The play just kept continuing. He threw it to the back, beautiful. And he's a St. Joe's prep kid too, which is really cool. So no, I mean, listen, Mick said it. He's developed that guy. The talk a couple of years ago of people questioning him, and I get it. You got to base it off your thoughts last year, but everything this guy does, he gets better at everything. And I play with guys that are like that. And whether you start at the bottom like me and you work your way to a middle part of the roster, but a guy like him that was given the opportunities to start at the middle part of the roster and work his way to the top, I'm just so happy for him because he's developed.
It's a real football team, and their depth at running back is really, really strong. I mean, just two high flying receivers in AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. You got an unbelievable O line, you got an unbelievable D line. They stay healthy. Now Kelsey, on the other hand, Jason Kelsey is a in my opinion, a wild card, like to finish the season. I think he'll be fine, but he seemed like he was really, really beat up last night. Maybe it was the heat. Maybe it was that play, right? That unstoppable play. But, he has to take that beating every single time. He nosedives in, falls down, 20 guys fall on top of him. He gets up like this. Oh, my God.
I'm sure they take care of him in practice. It's a great point, Nick. They're all, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like if everyone stays healthy, that to me, that's a part of it.
I think to me, that was one of the biggest questions for me to enter the year was this team essentially got through a whole year last year healthy.
Yeah.
You already had Dean go down, Bradbury miss a game, Blankenship miss a game, Gainwell miss a game. So are injuries going to be a little nagging problem? You got Lane Johnson who's up there. You got Kelsey who's up there. Landon last night had to leave the game. He's had a lot of knee problems. I saw Mailata walking off the field. And I know he's a big dude and he just played an NFL game, but he looked like he was kind of hobbling his way off the field last night too. So, can this offensive line, which I think it's leaps and bounds better than everybody. I mean, their offensive line is on another level from every other team in this league, and the way they utilize it, right? The way that the Eagles almost acknowledge that their offensive line is the star of the show, even though they don't get the pomp and circumstance that an A.J. Brown or a Swift is getting right now, or a Smith or a Hurts, obviously. But that offensive line is the reason why this whole thing does what it does.
That's a great point. And I'll go back to, if you load up the box and the Eagles had all these tight ends and they were playing physical and all this stuff, I don't think the O-line is what it is. I think the O-line's still elite, but I don't think what they are now is they can go down as one of the best in the history of the NFL because you spread people out. You got to cover all these guys. So they're running the ball against these light boxes. And on the flip side last night, defensively, you saw Blankenship coming up making plays, which was very Seattle Seahawk-esque. Sean Desai, he was in Chicago for literally 10 years. I was there with him. He coached me, Temple graduate. And then Sean goes to Seattle after getting fired when Matt Nagy got fired when he was the DC. And I was with Sean last year, and I'm standing on the 50-yard line. Shout out to the greatest Samboner review of all time that I did in Lumen Field, which was most fun by far. It was
check your ego at the door.
My greatest Sambone of all time.
I thought you said the.
No. I said the greatest that I did. I had a
all right.
I saw that one with the cheesesteak.
I don't know anybody else doing anybody else doing reviews from the 50-yard line.
Unbelievable.
Or are we are we hammered at Geno's? But no, so I digress. No, so I talked to Sean and he was like, dude, I've learned a ton about this new Seattle defense and how they go about what they do. Remember Cam Chancellor back in the day flying up, decapitating people, and then coming across the middle and picking the ball off? We saw Blankenship. Now, he missed a tackle last night, open field. That's normal football. But we saw Blankenship come down and thump a dude in the run game. And then we saw Blankenship later jump the seam ball. So that's, to me, a little bit of Sean pulling from what Seattle does as well. So he's a wild card in this. Desai, he's going to bring a lot of, he's got great pieces, but I know he's a really good coach.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Blankenship too, man, because it's good to see him back, and he's gritty, man. He fits the Philly mold, honestly. He loves to get after it.
That interception, man, showed me something there, right? He had a nose for that ball. Because last year, look, Chauncey Gardner had 6 interceptions. Who replaces that level of output? That level of causing turnovers. They had 70+ sacks last year. Who makes up for those? And if you're not getting sacks, how else are you getting negative plays? That interception, Jalen Carter. By the way, they were talking about this morning, Jalen Carter. Chris Canny says, and I quote, he would rather have Jalen Carter than Jalen Hurts over the next 5 years. That's how impactful he thinks Carter will be. What do you say?
My buddy Mike, one of the original OGs here at the Samboners, he posed the same exact question last night. Would you rather have Jalen Carter or Jalen Hurts? I'm like, why even ask the question? First of all, I want both of them. They're both young, hungry, and have a ton of just great upside. Like, I don't get the question, Mike.
Guys, I'll answer the question for you right now. It's not even close. It's not even remotely close. Jalen Hurts, every single GM in the NFL. It's not even a question. I was in Carolina. We drafted D tackle to Auburn, Derek Brown. Freak show. Does Matt Rule have a job anymore? Do we have a quarterback in Carolina?
Well, did he? I'm not answering the question.
Do we have a quarterback in Carolina?
I'm not answering the question. I'm just asking, did Derek Brown have the impact that Jalen Carter has had?
But I think Jalen Brown, again, it's a chicken or the egg here. When you have a complete team like this, and you have Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and Hassan Reddick and a first-round pick out of Georgia, who are you blocking? So I think it's a chicken or the egg. It's not – listen, if he's on a lesser team, he doesn't have as much of the impact. Not even close. It's not even close. You put him on that Bucs defense, he's solid. You put him on the Eagles defense, he's a playmaker. So, it's not even – it's not even close. Anybody who's doing that, they should go on –
well, you know what?
Sports Talk Radio and call in. And Jalen, we got Carson Wentz or Nick Foles, 610.
We were talking about this the other day. Like, Jalen Hurts is obviously a better, more accomplished quarterback than Justin Fields. But if you put the two on the field together and just watch them work out and throw the football, would you not say that Jalen Fields has the better?
Nah.
I'm just saying, like, just to look, just eye test. Would you not say would Fields have lost 13 straight games as a quarterback if he was in Philadelphia? And would Hurts be who he is if he was in Chicago?
I think Hurts would be who he is in Chicago. I don't think Fields would be who he is. I think
viable team.
I think it's all roster building, right? Again, I think how you build a complete team. This is what happens. Everybody eats.
That's the point I'm making is some of these guys shine because of what's around them.
No doubt. And there's a lot of guys in the league.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Justin Fields just flat out staying out. Now, he might be immature. He might not be a winner in his mind. I mean, he quit at Georgia because he wasn't playing.
Colin, I think to your point, like if Justin Fields was our quarterback, I think he would be finding way more success around this roster versus
huge.
Bears.
Plus, he'd be running the ball a lot more.
Yeah, Fields has more maybe physical traits and talent than a guy like Hurts does, but Hurts just has the other intangibles that he lacks. And that could be, as he came out and said, his words, coaching.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't wait to bet the Bears next week. Honestly, I really can't.
It's always
never.
It's Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. Always. Everyone. This one guy always, I follow and I've worked with before. He's a huge Steelers fan, and he's tweeting about Mike Tomlin. And I'm like, if another coach had that roster, they'd be Super Bowl team. I'm like, Mike Tomlin. Are we really coming at Mike Tomlin? Like,
okay, so there was a debate yesterday. I saw this on The Fan in New York. One of the hosts blames Saleh, says he's a horrible head coach and it's his fault. The other guy saying Zach Wilson can't play. He stinks. So when you watch Wilson, I just think the kid just has no confidence and can't play. I mean, but I've heard Jets fans say, well, the coaches don't have any play design. Everything is so basic, and they're giving him no shot.
There's a reason why. The offense changed in Philly for they don't run. Nick Sirianni didn't run his offense with Jalen Hurts. He ran the offense that fits Jalen Hurts best. Let's remember that. When Nick was with the Colts, it's two tight ends, play action passing, handing the ball off, deep shots down the field. Way different than what the Eagles run. The Eagles run a college offense, period. You turn on the tape in Oregon and you turn on the Eagles tape. It's the same offense. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's all zone read, draws, quick shots, and one-on-one matchups. So
why didn't it work for Chip Kelly?
It did work. He wasn't a good GM, but he was a great offensive coordinator. They hung up some points on people.
Interesting.
Points.
I think Chip's offense was explosive at times, but the problem I think for him was it didn't have enough depth to his offense. It was it was almost like Tecmo Bowl. He had 4 plays.
Yeah, but they work. I don't know. I'm a big Chip. Chip is the OC. Is the lead.
Listen, I agree with you. I think Chip probably could be an offensive coordinator in the league, but I think his offense had early on nobody could figure it out. I was like, what the hell's going on here? He was moving fast, rhythm. But I think once people kind of figured him out, he didn't have like a next level of that.
He also traded LaShawn McCoy, and he traded like Deshaun. All of a sudden, all those pieces go away. Yeah. So again, it's Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. If you don't have the dudes in the NFL to get it done, it ain't getting it done. Now in college, you can get it done with like we did at Tampa.
Arizona against the Cowboys.
Sorry?
Unless you're Arizona against the Cowboys, because Arizona don't have the Jimmys and Joes that Dallas has.
They do not. But that's, again, Super Bowl team, one loss along the way. But I tell you what, Arizona could be 3-0 very, very easily.
Very easily.
So they're the Jimmys and Joes.
For the John Gannon haters out there.
I'll never understand that one either. It was like one of the best defenses in NFL histories, and the Eagles fans hate John Gannon because the player slipped in man-to-man coverage in the back of an end zone. Again, I struggle with all that stuff. I do.
I'm on your side there. Never was a Gannon hater. By the way,
next week,
never was a Howie hater either, by the way.
Yeah, but that's nutty too.
So it's good to see next week, finally, the Birds play on a traditional Sunday 1:00 game. Only one of 3 1:00 games all year. But no, the schedule looks favorable until we reach Miami on Sunday night. Let's shift gears here, folks, as we start to kind of wind down the weekend shakedown. Mike, I love getting your take on the Phils. Final week of baseball. The Phils are red hot again. I like to say, I humbly say they're red hot again. What are we looking at, as we wind down the remainder of the season and then playoffs kick off October 3rd? Your gut last week was, I think they win a series, maybe 2, and then it's over. Are we still feeling that way after winning 5 straight?
Nick, this week is going to be interesting. And you would if they win tonight, we're recording this on Tuesday. If they win tonight, they're going to be the number 1 wild card. They'd have to fall completely in their face not to be the number 1 wild card team. But I will say this week to me, regardless of when they clinch, will be huge for this reason. I think one of their flaws has been a right-handed arm in the bullpen. And this kid, Kirk Kering, I definitively think he needs to have a big role in these playoffs. And if they can get that right-handed arm in a 7th, 8th, 9th inning situation, and I'm not crazy when I might sound crazy, but I'm not. I've seen this before. K-Rod came in. He was 20 years old, and the Angels called him up for 5 games, and he closed them all the way into the World Series. This Kirk Kering, I think, is already a better arm talent than Hoffman and Dominguez and Lorenzen and probably Kimbrel. I mean, as a right-handed arm in that bullpen, I would almost go to him. I don't know that they will, but I say this. I give the Phillies a ton of credit because they did something they normally would not do and call up a kid who started the season at A-ball. And now I believe that kid will be on the playoff roster and make a difference.
I love
Amen. You know what sucks about not being is I don't watch all the games. I can't wait for the playoffs and the national broadcast. I can't wait. But I miss that. I've been watching Baltimore, which has been fun to see. So I'm excited for the Baltimore hype around here with the Phillies too. These 2 towns, and Mike's a Baltimore guy. There's so many parallels.
Baby.
There's so many parallels between the fan bases. It's hysterical. I'm in the gym yesterday. Lamar Jackson sucked. The guy kept him in the game. He ran around like a crazy man because he was getting a ton of pressure. I don't want to take off the Phillies talk, but I just thought it was.
No, I mean, dude, are you kidding me? That's great. Like, dude, could you imagine an Orioles-Phillies World Series?
No, I-95 is going to have major traffic. It's major.
It's already the biggest clusterfuck in the United States.
Yeah, 1983. That's like the first memory I have of like a World Series was 83. The Orioles beating the Phillies.
It's a real possibility. It's not like that. In years past, it's been way more of a stretch, right?
Oh, it's a real possibility. And, the way that the Phillies fans travel today, that's going to be.
There's no shot you're getting a ticket to that game if you're a Phillies fan. Right.
The value of them will be extremely, extremely high.
Yeah.
I love it. Look, we turn the corner, Mike, 1 week, and you're already now starting to feel more towards that World Series presence again. Everybody out there, if you're not familiar with Mike, download the app, 97.3 South Jersey, ESPN Radio. Mike's take on the Phillies, in my opinion, is one of the best in the local area. So it's a ton of fun.
Because last week when we talked, I doubted that they had that right-handed guy in the bullpen, and I thought ultimately they're a little short in their bullpen in that role.
There you go.
I don't know what this kid's role is going to be, and that's why I say this week is going to be interesting because they threw him the other night. They gave him a taste. I thought 2 things. He threw 100 miles an hour and had a slider that was off the charts, and there's some numbers on this kid. He has struck out 39% of the hitters he's faced this season at all his levels. There's only 2 pitchers in all levels of baseball who have done that. Aroldis Chapman and Bautista from Baltimore. So he's that electric. 2, he was so composed. He went up there. His father, did you see him? He's a Marine. He's crying. This kid went up there like he didn't know anybody on the team. He wasn't even in minor league camp. He wasn't at spring training. He didn't know a soul. Get out there and pitch in a pennant race. He went out there, fired strikeouts, walked off the mound, no pump of the fist, no nothing. Like I've done it before. Barry Sanders, touchdown, here you go, Mr. Referee. And then after the game, he's talking to McCarthy in the interview, and the dude was unfazed.
Let's go. Standing go for Mr. Mike Gill. Let's go. He's feeling it here.
That he was in. This guy, to me, belongs.
I love it, baby. I
Clip
love
that.
it. Strap on your seatbelt, Samboners. We're in for one hell of a ride.
Okay, quickly. Top two playoffs of all the playoffs in the world. Like NBA.
Here we go with the NHL take.
No. I think baseball and the NHL have to be top 2, right?
I think
NCAA count the tournament.
No. Don't count the tournament. That's a whole nother can of worms. NBA, MLB.
I think basketball is probably the weakest because now you're starting to see it more, but the early rounds is typically chalk in the early rounds of the NBA. Yeah. It is changing a little bit. You are starting to see a little bit more parity between 8-1 and 2-7, 3-6. But I think basketball would be the last. Football, obviously the nature of the one and done, but you get those, they put too many teams in. Now the 7th team doesn't need to be there. So those wild card games are not great.
Plus it's one game a week.
Baseball, hockey.
I think it's baseball and hockey, man. Hockey things
are crazy. You got overtime. The 8 beats the 1, the 7's beating the 2.
Yeah. And it's 7 games, like all the time, a lot of it, right? And then it's a whole different season. Regular season's brutal now. So then it's like a whole nother league. And then I think baseball, man.
I'll go baseball and then pickleball.
610-632.
Fellas, this has been a ton of fun, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Jalen Hurts. What the hell is that? Canty? Ridiculous. Samboner, whoever who texted Mick? Ridiculous. Franchise quarterback?
I actually have the bite. You want to hear it?
Yeah, just play it on the way out. This is ridiculous. Franchise quarterback? Or let's go, Mike. Produce this show. Where's Jack at?
I'm surprised Jack hasn't jumped in yet. Jumped out of his seat.
He'd be like, why all the facts on that
Probably
are?
combing his hair.
He's got a great head of hair.
Are you not hearing that? I guess you can't hear that, Mike.
Nah, we can't hear it.
We don't need to hear it. I know what he already said. That's clickbait.
Well, I guess what? I agree. You can't take a defense. Look, J.J. Watt is a Hall of Famer, drafted number 1. You've got guys drafted number 1, defensive players who are great players, never changed the fortunes of those franchises.
How did Houston do?
Exactly. J.J. Watt, fantastic. T.J. Watt, fantastic. You got guys all over the place that have been drafted number 1 as defensive players that don't change the fortunes of the franchise. It's just
quarterbacks. Yeah, they're worth 10 times more than any other player. That's why they get paid what they get paid.
And that's why the Jets stink. Look how great their defense is. And they still can't win because their quarterback is unplayable.
Wow.
Unplayable.
A lot of hot takes and a lot of spot-on, interesting takes from the Samboner Show today, Mick. Good stuff as always.
Always off the rails here at the Samboner Show. I think that's all we got, though, fellas. My rundown is complete unless you guys have anything else you want to touch on.
Take a look, take a bite. HOAGIE Month. I still have yet to do one. It's embarrassing. It's just been absolutely debauchery. And during the week, I just eat grilled chicken and lettuce because I'm a mess on the weekend. So
should have done that Russo's in the press box the other night. That was a hell of a
I woke up this morning to someone Samboned in Italy. So it's alive and well, Samboned Nation. Keep on doing your thing. All right, that's it. Love y'all. Samboner out.
Samboner out.
All right, see you guys.
Pop that Sambone, and baby,